I woke up very early this morning, even if I slept late last night, preparing my motorbike and equipment for today's journey. I am actually very excited because I'll finally be visiting Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery, which is the only one of its kind in the Philippines. Last month, I sent a formal request to the National Historical Commission of the Philippines to do a feature of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery, and they responded positively just a few days later. I was told that the National Historical Commission is strict when endorsing requests to conduct video shoots of the underground cemetery, and that they carefully considered the content of my YouTube channel before granting me their permission. And so I really feel proud to be given this honor. Aside from Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery, the other landmark in Nagcarlan, Laguna is Nagcarlan Church, and so I visited this historic church a couple of weeks earlier as a prelude to this feature. The link to that video can be found in the description below. What makes this day more special is that I'll be riding with Triumph Philippines' very own Moe Ordona. He's the service manager at Triumph Greenhills, and I've always been impressed with his professionalism and passion to provide top-notch service. I also just found out that this would be the very first time for him to ride out with a Triumph customer, and so this makes me doubly proud. I also look forward to our overnight stay by the famous streams of Liliw, Laguna, which is beside Nagcarlan Municipality. They are both perched at the foot of Mount Banahaw. I chanced upon other Triumph riders as I waited for Moe to pass the South Luzon Expressway toll plaza. They were a large group and were headed somewhere else, and so Moe and I went our own way. Okay folks, so we've arrived at Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery. I had the original impression that we could actually bring our bikes inside, but we just had to park our bikes on the street. Show you. So right there, those are our bikes, and I'm just waiting for the curator, Miss Estubo, to receive us. And this is the main entrance of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery. Let me introduce you to Moe. This is Moe right here, service manager of Triumph. And by the way, I failed to mention this morning that he actually lives in this area, particularly in Liliw, right?
Yes.
And after going here, we're going to visit his resort and check it out. I had the privilege of personally interviewing Miss Estubo, who is the Shrine Curator II of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery. She was very patient with my questions and knowledgeable about the place, and she even debunked a popular myth surrounding the cemetery.
Ang Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery po ay nagsilbing libingan para lamang po sa mga Katolikong nagkarlangin. At meron pong special place yung mga residenteng itinuturing na malaki yung naging ambag sa pagyabong ng municipal ng Nagcarlan during the Spanish colonial period. At Yung underground crypt, 15 meters underneath the chapel, 15 feet, sorry, underneath the chapel, is a resting place for the elite members of Nagcarlan. So, 24 na nicho yung para sa mga elite members ng town ng Nagcarlan, and 12 na nicho para sa mga Franciscan friars na nag-serve sa Nagcarlan.
Is there any specific parang prominent person of in Philippine history who is buried underground po?
Wala naman pong prominent na tao na nandun sa ilalim. Ang meron lang po kami information is that they are the elite members. Usually sila po yung mga nag-serve or mula sa pamilya ng mga gobernadorcillo, kabeza de barangay. Ayun po. And then the Franciscan friars.
On November 1, may mga dumadalo pa po dito ng mga faithful who pray for their loved ones who passed away, o wala na po? Talagang literally museum na lang talaga to?
Actually, even before COVID po, meron pa pong mga dumadalaw, mga apo na po ng mga nakalibing dito. And during nung COVID naman po, ng pandemic, since executive order ng local government unit na hindi tumanggap ng bisita during November 1, sinunod po namin yan. Pero before that period, the closing of the cemetery, may mga bumibisita pa pong iilan na nag-aalay ng bulaklak at saka kandila.
Mga apo na lang?
Yes po.
And when was Nagcarlan Cemetery closed as an actual cemetery?
When it was declared as a historical landmark on October 24, 1981, nag-stop po yung operation niya bilang isang cemetery na pinaglilibingan, at dun po nagpasimula na naging simbolo siya ng cultural tourism ng bayan ng Nagcarlan.
Ms. Estubo further informed us that Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery was built in 1845 under the supervision of Franciscan priest Father Vicente Velloc. Its construction coincides with the expansion of San Bartolome Apostol Parish Church, otherwise known as Nagcarlan Church. She also told me that it served as a meeting place for revolutionary leaders of the Katipunan in 1896, as well as the hideout for Filipino leaders during the Philippine-American War and of guerrillas in World War II. This is also the place where Pedro Paterno and General Severino Taino planned the historic Pact of Biak na Bato in 1897.
So, how true is it that there is an underground tunnel that links the Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery to Nagcarlan Church, particularly the spot where the altar is found po sa Nagcarlan Church? Is there any truth to that?
Isa po yan sa mga matagal ng kwentong bayan dito sa Nagcarlan, na meron nga daw pong underground tunnel connecting the San Bartolome Church and the underground crypt of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery. But according to our architects and engineers who inspected the place before they restorated it in 1985 and 1986, wala pong katotohanan na merong underground tunnel. Kasi kung sisiyasatin po natin yung geographical location ng simbahan at ng underground cemetery, meron pong ilog sa gitna. So, malabo pong malagyan ng underground tunnel dahil malambot po yung lupa. So, nung makausap ko po yung ngayong parochial priest ng simbahan, si Father Dodi, ang kanya naman pong teorya ay maaaring totoong nagkaroon ng tunnel, but it's actually connecting the Mount Banahaw and the San Bartolome Parish Church. So, ayun po yung teorya.
Bakit po magkakaroon ng tunnel between Mount Banahaw and Nagcarlan Church?
Sinasabi nila na maaaring mayroong secret na lagusan kasi posibleng magkaroon dahil wala namang ilog sa pagitan ng Mount Banahaw and the church. Maaaring yun mas totoo, mas malaki yung possibility na totoo kaysa sa underground crypt and the simbahan kasi nga may ilog sa gitna.
We wanted to spend more time chatting with Ms. Estubo about the broader history of Nagcarlan Municipality, but we had already taken too much of her time. And so Moe and I finally decided to enter the cemetery and the underground crypt.
So we're now walking towards the chapel, which is on the other end of the pathway from the gate of Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery. And this is where they used to hold the funeral masses for those who would be buried here. Now, there are 240 niches here above ground. Then, in the underground crypt, there are around 36 niches. And the way to the underground crypt is through this chapel. So we're now finally entering the chapel. Right behind the altar is an image of Santo Sepulcro, which is basically Jesus and the Holy Sepulchre. By the way, I'd just like to point out something here. You will notice right here that there are tiles here, right? And these appear to be original tiles from the original design. And the reason why I say that is because if you remember our trip to Nagcarlan Church or San Bartolome Apostol Parish Church, there are also colored tiles on the sides of the church, and they really look very similar to these tiles. And I think it also has to do with the fact that they built this underground cemetery right around the same time that they expanded the San Bartolome Apostol Parish Church in 1845. Immediately after you enter the entrance of the chapel, immediately to the right, you'll see the entrance to the underground crypt. So let's go. Okay, so we're now inside the underground crypt. And as you can see, it's actually quite small. It's literally below the chapel. As Ms. Estubo said, it's 15 feet underground. And here are the niches. There are 36 of them. By the way, again, here are the tiles on the floor. Again, they look like the tiles on the sides of Nagcarlan Church, and also particularly the baptistry. So I'm going back to the chapel, and I'll just spend some moments here in the chapel to pray, because I think it's just proper to pray for the souls of the people who are buried here. And just do it right here. So that was Nagcarlan Underground Cemetery. Moe and I will now head out towards Liliw, where his resort is found, and we'll look for a place to have some breakfast. It's not yet the end of this video because I want to show you the special resort of Moe. He keeps on saying that it's right beside a very nice stream and close to a waterfall, so let's see if it's worth going to, and I'll tell you in secret if whether or not it is true. Okay guys, see you on the road. Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, so Moe brought me here to this unique restaurant called White House since 1938, it says. So we're gonna have a late breakfast here. Oh, wow, look at this place. Look at this, look at this. Reminds me of the Al Heritage Town. Oh, lovely place. Oh man. There you go. Fried egg, rice, coffee, and what is this, Mo?
Longganisang Lukban.
Longanisa Lugban. And Lugban is a place here in Laguna, right?
Yeah, it's just close by near past Pansana.
Okay, yeah. Breakfast of champions. Right. When you're in Liliw, you have to look at their slippers because Liliw is known for their slippers. Okay, here it is, Villa Celestia. It's in moments like this when sometimes saying nothing is enough.